I want to throw this at you. Later today, the Milwaukee Bucks are going to announce their next head coach, Adrian Griffin. It'll be his first head coaching job. Wonder if you have any thoughts if you had Coach Griffin with a few minutes to talk with him today. What would you tell him?
Well, I mean, I just wish him the best, and just I think any new job, any big job that anybody takes, that one of the biggest thing is you got to be yourself. You don't have to change for the job. Whatever you did to get there is good enough, and that's the main advice I'd give anybody taking a brand new big job.
I do find it fascinating, Skip, when it comes to the fact that he's been a former player. He's also been an assistant coach, similar to you, where you've been on the bench before with these guys even. Does that play a role in, like, when you're a peer to then having to be a quote-unquote mentor or coach?
No, I mean, I think like the playing, your playing career, actually creates trust with the players. That you've been through a lot of similar situations, and at the time when I was a peer to some of the players I was coaching, there's already a huge level of trust established with those guys. You've got relationships with those guys. They know who you are. They know how you behave and act and all those things. So no surprises from that end. It's different being an assistant than a head coach. It's different being a player to an assistant coach, and those are things you learn as you go. And there's different responsibilities, but the key is to kind of act with your gut. There's a lot of information in the world, but every decision we make ultimately comes down to our gut, and it's important to trust that.
Hey, Craig, Eric had an interesting interaction with some of our folks on the team here from a childhood friend of yours from back in the day when you guys were both ball boys there for the Brewers.
Yeah, so Bill Zito, I don't know how many people know the name, but he's a local guy who's now the GM of the Florida Panthers, who are in the Stanley Cup final, by the way. And he was on, I was able to speak with him earlier, Craig, but he was also on ESPN Milwaukee, and he talked about you a bit.
Mr. Counsell would bring the boys, and Craig was there with Sal Bando's son, Sonny, and I think Sonny and Sal.
Yeah.
And then Larry Heisel had boys. But it was awesome. There was no security. There was one security guy, Uncle Wally, who sat by the front door and slept. And then the guys would bring the kids in, and they would help. And Craig Counsell also played with my brother Chris when we were growing up. So he was a few years behind me. I have not seen him since I got down here.
It was just so cool, Craig, hearing this GM for an NHL team just talking so fondly about his time with the Brewers.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, we grew up, really like a block from each other. And he was much older than I was, but his brothers were on the playground when we were little, playing all the time. And that County Stadium, that was the story. It was Sal Bando's kids, and it was Larry Heisel's kids, and we tried to have as much fun and soak as much baseball in as we could. So that's exactly how it happened.
Here's another soundbite, though. I got another one for you. You might appreciate this one.
I remember Ted Simmons helping me with my homework and telling me, you got to get it done. Get your homework done. There's so many stories. Pete Vukovich was a grumpy, sort of a curmudgeon guy. And he'd come in the room and scream, "This place is filthy. You clubbies, you guys are the worst." And then when no one's looking, here's $20. Don't you tell anyone.
Is that true?
Those are good stories, and he nailed the personalities. Those are the personalities exactly. He got them right.
Ted Simmons helped me with my homework. That I didn't expect to hear, Skip.
No, Ted Simmons, very, very smart guy. Very smart guy.
So last soundbite, I know you'll appreciate this one. So Zito on with ESPN Milwaukee. They brought you up when they were talking.
You and Craig Counsell crossed paths at all when you were bat boy with the Brewers, and Craig was also doing the same gig.
He was a pain in the ass.
Yeah. Also true?
No, things don't change. That's how it works.
Brewers manager Craig Counsell with us. Thanks, Craig. Brewers have a 6:40 first pitch tonight at American Family Field.